Hi guys and welcome to another Fool of the Week. This week's Fool is Poppy Coburn, a journalist at the pro-Tory Telegraph. Now she appeared on Newsnight, I'm not sure why. The TV programme has really gone downhill over the last number of years. Anyway, she explained in this clip how Republicans in the USA have been convinced by Trump, Vance and of course right-wing commentators that Britain doesn't have free speech anymore because of Keir Starmer or something. Poppy then went on to say that this of course is an exaggeration. However, they do have a point. Excuse me?
I actually would have to push back a little bit on what you said. I think Americans are really concerned about free speech around the world, particularly when it comes to Britain. They're really obsessed with it.
Well, some Americans.
Some Americans, but I would say particularly MAGA, related Americans. When I was out there for inauguration, one of the first things people would say to me when they heard my accent was, I'm so sorry, like Britain's devolved into a police state.
But this
I
is
was like, well,
nonsense,
look,
right?
okay, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, or a big exaggeration. But they have a point in terms that America has more encoded liberal speech values than we do. We do not have free speech encoded in law. America does. That is a real difference, regardless of politics. Always been the case, but now they can see things like the Lucy Connolly case, they see all these stories on social media coming out, and they get a perception that, okay, the UK is not a liberal country anymore. Thank goodness we are.
My goodness. Are there issues of free speech in Britain? Yes, of course there are issues regarding free speech. But of course the Tories and their friends in the media will never mention the fact that freedom of expression is protected under the European Convention on Human Rights. Now, the same people, the Tories and their friends in the media, who want Britain to leave the European Convention on Human Rights. So you can't say that you need to protect freedom of expression, that Britain doesn't have protections for freedom of expression, and then say we need to leave the ECHR because of migrants or something. We need to strip away protections for British citizens, of course, to punish migrants, but at the same time we need to protect our own rights. You can't have it both ways. Now, I find it so ironic that people like Vance or Donald Trump or right-wing commentators are talking about freedom of expression, while at the same time taking funding away from universities because they say things that Republicans don't like, be it on Israel or be it in general. They've literally deported people, disappeared people over expressions they have made about different things. People have been sent to gulags in another country. Now, as far as I know, Keir Starmer hasn't sent anyone to a gulag. Donald Trump's administration has. Now, once again, why are we having people like Poppy here talking about how, well, Americans are concerned about freedom of expression outside their country? Well, they need to look in the mirror first. They need to look at people like Donald Trump and Vance and what they're doing, not just to universities, but to American citizens, taking away their rights, sending them to places outside the United States without due process. That's what fascists do. That's what people who are against freedom of expression do. And to equate that with somebody who was sent to prison for incitement is ridiculous, beyond ridiculous. Donald Trump and Vance need to shut the F up. They are fascists. They are sending people out of the country without due process. They're trying to steal the right of freedom of expression from universities, punishing them, blackmailing them, acting like a mafia boss when it comes to these universities. So they need to get their own house in order before they start talking about freedom of expression in Britain or in Europe. And remember, in Europe and in the UK, at least for now, freedom of expression is protected. In the US, it's not, because Donald Trump can override the Constitution. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think, and I'll see you next time for our next Fool of the Week.